documented. Sorry, that's okay. Are documented in our meeting minutes. Any use of an electronic device such as a computer or cell phone is related to the business of the meeting. The core values that guide our work are respect, compassion, honesty, responsibility, and relationships. So we're calling our meeting to order at 5:33. And we're acknowledging that today's board meeting is being held within the city. Are there any additions to the agenda? Could I please get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Thomas, seconded by Bill. I ask the additions question. All in favor? Presentations and delegations. I don't think we have anyone tonight. So we will move into trustee engagement and celebrations, and we'll start with trustee Campbell.
Okay, I went to the Indigenous Education Council on April 9th, and there was a few things that I'll just say. The June 11th is the grad dinner, and May 21st and 22nd there's an IEC training for northern districts in Prince George. And Helen, they did say if you and I want to go, we could.
Okay.
And I've been to a couple of my PAC meetings, and they were all concerned about how quick our weather was going to get nice. But as they can see now, it's good. Actually, I was at the Taylor School one day, and it was quite interesting. All the little kids were, and it was one girl was designing it, and they were doing a trench to get rid of all the water out of their playground. It was really cute to watch the kids doing that, and it worked quite well. And that's all I have to report.
Thank you. Vice Chair Gillis.
I was at the committee of the whole meeting out at 101 for the grand opening. I've been to the Hudson's Hope School and spoke with the principal. And last week I was in on the interviews for some vice principal positions. And we met for the superintendent posting.
Thank you. Trustee Lehman.
Was also up at 1-1 for the grand opening. Was very nice to see the new school and see the old one beside. Very nice.
Before in the hour.
Yeah. I went to the BCSA EGM in Vancouver. Attended a BCPC sector call too, and did a superintendent committee meeting, I guess.
Great. Trustee Scott Moncrief.
I've chatted with almost all of my schools. Presbyterian is doing very well. The staffing situation looks really solid for next year. Enrollment is good. They've got their sports day coming up, and I'm going off the top of my head, I can't remember the date. Upper Pine, they've got a science fair coming up and some badminton. So they have some badminton coming up. And he's keeping all his staff. He's very, very, very excited about keeping all his staff. And the enrollment looks really good. 101, they've got one staffing change, I think. I chatted with her very briefly, but she looks good. Enrollment looks good. And she's got a science fair coming up. She's pretty excited about, and all things in the
Trustee Snow.
Ready. So, the 101, it was really nice to see. I've been there several times in the school, and the difference was amazing. And then down to Vancouver, I attended the pre-conference part, and the conference, and a provincial council meeting down there. All went well.
Thank you. Trustee Whitten.
So I went to the Petroleum Association meeting, got to meet and talk with a lot of people. Family went to the Foundry Bowling Night, which was really nice to see families out enjoying bowling and getting out of the house and not being on computers all day. And I attended the World Fair that they're planning as well for Trenton just before the summer break as well.
Thank you. All right. I got to go to labor management meeting and I got to do voter training for the electronic system that never works at AGM. It crashed again. So I don't know when they're going to give up on that. But anyways, and I did 101 as well. And I'm really excited to see the change in that school for that community. I have had a rural and remote meeting and I attended AGM as well. And we'll look later on in the agenda. All of our motions went through. So that was exciting follow-up on lots of our advocacy work that's been ongoing. All right, moving on to item number 5 on our agenda. We're going to look at the minutes of the regular board meeting of March the 9th, which is page 6 to 12 in your package. So we'll just give you a second to look at those. More than a second.
Please wait for me.
Could I please have a mover and seconder? Moved by David, seconded by Nicole. Any errors or omissions? Calling the question, all in favor? Don't think we have any business arising. So we'll move on to item number 6, approval of excerpts of the in-camera board meeting of February the 17th, which is page 13 in your package. Could I please get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Ida, seconded by Bill. Any errors or omissions? Minutes of few words. All in favor then? It's carried. Announcements and reminders. Did anybody do anything with the regional science fair?
I made it to the door and I got a phone call and had to go back.
Okay. I know I missed it, so it was good. It was good, thank you. Not on this time's announcements and reminders, but I needed to know that somebody talk to somebody that wants. All right. Is there anything missing from our announcements and reminders list as we hit the fast slide into the end of the year?
The next meeting for the Indigenous Council is gonna be June 3rd.
Okay,
They changed them, so.
oh, is there anybody else that can come to the SUPAC meeting on Tuesday? I'm going, but David?
Like tomorrow?
No. Is it tomorrow?
No, it's the 28th.
28th, yeah, it's the 28th. No, it's not tomorrow. It's usually a week after. So David, you can go? Okay, thank you. We'll let Sharon know that. All right. No other things there? All right. We'll move into item number 8 on our agenda, which is our senior staff reports.
Thank you. Item number 1 in our activity report. Under education, our online superintendent's report. Under intellectual development, finally these were delayed at first. We got some of our results back both for grad FSAs, how are we doing report. So a number of pieces of that information are on the link. Preliminary analysis trends are going in the right direction. Overall grad rates came down a bit, more so for boys than girls when we broke it down. But our Indigenous rates actually bucked the trend of both the district and province and went back up. And we were concerned that it was going to continue to decline. And so it was nice to see that come back up. Some bright spots and low spots as well on the FSAs as we look through it. But again, the hot spots seem to be the bright spots, especially related to Indigenous students, even around grade 4 numeracy, for example. They were doing as well as they've ever done. Grand opening of 1-1 school. Trustees mentioned that tonight. So just a few pictures here. You'll have lots of your own as well. But for the public, you can certainly see the open space in the foyer as you come into the school. So you're looking at the library and the big windows look onto the playground just beyond there. And to the right is the classrooms. And it ties in very nicely, thanks to the work of operations, to the gym. And we heard some great words from a number of people, including our board chair, and kind of special also to hear from a grade 9 student in terms of her experience over the last several years. And again, a thank you to Twyla and Londa for setting everything up so nicely. CBC did quite a long article and spent the afternoon there too, which was nice to see that covered. Under human and social development, this time of the year, it's really important to remind the public and parents around our emergency preparedness. So there's a link there to our website, which reviews the parent information around all emergency preparedness. It includes definitions of the different words. For example, the difference between hold and secure and lockdown is really important that the public and parents and everyone understands that. As well as, of course, reunification processes, what to do, what not to do. And so these are often questions. You don't want to wait till something happens before you know what information to consult in that. So that's available for everyone. Under career and skill development, I didn't realize also, Helen, you had attended this too. I think a number of us gave little talks to the Duncan Cran student population on different careers. So I talked about being a teacher and enjoyed my time with them. And it's really well organized. They give nice gifts throughout the week. And it wasn't just a one-off thing. It happened out throughout the week and seemed to be well attended. Under people development, a bit of an update on recruitment and retention. So as you know, I've been working for a few years now with the SSA, and the boards have been working with the SBA and the ministry. Some good news here. It is a bit unfortunate that some of these announcements were delayed until now, but first of all, the hiring incentives continue. That makes a big difference for ST60. While you may hear different reactions to that around the province, the fact is it has made a difference for our students. We have applied and we will be receiving some incentives. I'm still on that committee that determines that. For the field placement bursary, and we still have a trickle of students that come from other districts, usually from down south. They get $8,000 to cover their accommodation and travel costs, and that's also been a great program. Really exciting that we're going into year two. Year one was a fits and starts. It was the first year they introduced, if you'll recall, similar to the Northern Alberta Development Council has those bursaries for student teachers to stay in the north for 3 years. They introduced it last year, but it was a bit late. They only had 8 applicants for the 10 scholarships, bursaries, and they chose 5. And those 5 student teachers will be working with those 5 pilot districts to see what positions are best suited. So there'll be matching happening now between our districts and those 5 students. The good news is they're continuing into year 2. We are still a pilot district, and there will now be 14 bursaries. So we're hoping the uptake will be a lot higher on that. And if you recall, they get $18,000 for their final year of their teacher education program, and then they commit to 3 years in the district. A much better chance of retention when they've actually been there. And while we're a little bit skinny on some of the details, I mean, there's an application process, but one piece of good news with the Teachers Council is that we have the ability to apply for up to a 3-year LOP hiring instead of having to constantly repost on an annual basis, which is a lot of disruption. So it gives some certainty not only to the district, but to the LOP. This will not compromise the ability for any or all certified teachers to find positions in the district and to be prioritized. It's just that we know of some positions where always will need LOPs. Under literacy learning, also under people development, you can read through here a number of, we're involved in pilots with our curriculum department, so have a look through there. Under Truth and Reconciliation, I believe trustees have been invited to the Learning Day, Indigenous Learning Day on Friday, May the 8th. And so this gives you a bit more information on that. It's the poster. And finally, under Take 3, Taylor School. Our school Racing to Read reading challenge is complete. So altogether, they had 77,196 minutes, which works out to 54 days of reading. So they're pretty excited about that. And Taylor Elementary, also Indigenous Games was held the last day before spring break. And finally, Dr. Middle School is presenting in May, Mean Girls. And that will be an audience appropriate presentation. Musical. That is my online report. Item number 2 is community coaches breakout for a motion, as well as number 3 out of district field trips. And finally, an information piece. Number 4 in your package is a letter from the ministry to myself, copied to the board chair, I believe. Yeah. And it simply says that SD60 submitted its framework for enhancing student learning. They had a group read it, and the little paragraph on the second page that's indented tells you that SD60 is following the requirements. It has an improvement plan. It has a cycle for analysis and improvement, and basically we're doing what we're supposed to do. You'll notice that there's not a lot of feedback from the ministries because we were one of the 40 districts that was not getting an in-depth review for the year that we just submitted. That is my report.
Right. Now please have a mover and a seconder for Stephen's report, and this is everything that doesn't need a motion. Thank you, Thomas and Bill. Right. So we'll go through the online report first. Questions as we go through from anybody? The opening of 101 was fun. What I really liked is I like all of those things rolled. So if you want to do something with your community on the weekend and you don't want the library books there and you want an open space, it would be a great place to have a family dance.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. It'd be up for that.
And Bo Hedges, I didn't realize he came from 101. That was kind of an
Yeah,
exciting
I didn't realize that either, actually.
realization.
On the emergency preparedness?
Yeah.
Are you encouraging the principals to just kind of give that at a pack or something?
We
Yeah,
actually
'cause-
went one more than that. We diarized, sent it out directly to all parents.
Oh, directly. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
we did that last year as well, and we sent it through MyEd now. Not everybody checks their email, but between that, presenting it tonight, you're right though, because otherwise if it's just one way to do it, they miss out on it, but we do send it out directly.
Hopefully, with the moisture and things like that, we're not going to have the same fire.
Well, I sure hope so.
On that note,
Yeah.
kind of, with the situation a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
Have we still kept? Have we added any messaging to the schools to say, hey, I know that this isn't top of mind anymore, you know, we're not as worried, things have kind of calmed down.
Yeah.
We still need to remain diligent, we still need to make sure the doors are being taken care of,
Yeah.
doors are being locked, stuff like that. It feels like it's less of a concern now. It's not in your face anymore. We don't want to become complacent. We want to make sure that the kids are taken care of, that they're safe in the schools.
Great question. Thanks for raising that. And you'll recall that I did send home a letter to that effect around what the district is doing and what it's continuing to do and what it's doing moving forward. And that included, for example, all of the schools looking at their exterior access. And that's an ongoing piece because it can't just happen overnight. And so it is absolutely front of mind in the sense that we're actually meeting next week to look at floor plans, exterior access, and what is possible both mechanically and financially in terms of changing some of the doors and doing that thing.
Yes, here, when I was at a couple of the PAC meetings, they talked about that. They talked about the changes. They talked about how they're working with the schools. So it is out there, and I know that they brought it up at 2 of the 3 PAC meetings I was at about, you know, how they adjusted.
It's a great example because at Taylor, they've had to reroute some of their traffic patterns of people arriving at the school and you know, to a certain degree, it just makes sense in terms of knowing who's coming into the school. And so it is top of mind and we're starting with that exterior access piece and plans are in place for it.
And Duncan Cran was talking about how the parents are getting to know which doors they can
Yeah,
use and how to
retraining
get it,
people,
yeah.
right?
Because they said they have kids coming all hours of the day, so they were talking about
And the
that.
other thing is, the document is kind of for the whole district, and there's site-specific, school-specific things that are going on, so you may not have, it's only general statements in this
Yeah.
document.
Thank you. Great point, because we have so many different programs like early learning or access, exterior access points, depending on the school. Some schools that don't have offices that view onto, you know, entryways. And rural schools, rural school communities who might have a different plan, and that's okay. But it's working with the parents in each of the locations and communicating it. I know Explore Fest is coming up too. Was that in the announcements and reminders?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
is.
we see.
May 7th.
I have a question on this one.
Yes.
You mentioned the hiring incentive.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sorry, the people development.
Yeah.
The 500,000, there was some negative feedback. What was that mostly related to?
It was a question from even a couple of trustees, for example, I believe maybe from Cornell, and just around, you know, is it fair to the other staff that were hired perhaps and whose position was not attached to an incentive? So it was more of a question on that equity piece, whereas 99% of the time people understand and appreciate that we can hire in certified teachers and they have colleagues that are certified. And so from a staff and operational perspective, super helpful. But there are some ethical questions that incentives raise when some people get it and some people don't, which is fair.
The other thing with them is that they've helped us and we feel positive about them, but some of the other districts, even with incentives in place, haven't been able to attract teachers. So they don't feel as positive about it because it hasn't worked for them. And so it comes down to a different profile
Different circumstances.
in each district. But for us, it certainly worked.
I had a question on LOP. So the 3 years, that's one position. Because I know what we kind of had wondered in the past was if there is an LOP and then there is a certified teacher, but there's another home club. that LOP does not cover universally, you have to reapply.
Or you front load some of the possibilities. Now, it's impossible to always anticipate. Excellent question. What is needed?
Right.
But there will always be some glitches to this process where the bureaucracy will require us to either reapply for, this happened to us here, where they were hired, let's say, as a secondary French teacher, but then they also, a science piece came up that they had to teach and we had to reapply.
But
so
you still
the-
have to do that.
That's right. The ultimate flexibility we were hoping for is not there yet in many respects, but at least
Good start.
it is a start.
And I don't think we've actually seen the application, but what year, we don't want to get caught like we did in the North Peace audit where we have an LOP and they don't
That's
count
what you're
them.
alluding to.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So this is still really early, and whether it's going to provide any of the flexibility that we ask for remains to be seen. Stephen,
Yes.
I noticed when I signed up for the Indigenous Learning Day, it's only open to some support staff. Is there a problem with numbers? I mean, I'm quite happy to go, but if there was somebody in the field that wanted to go and couldn't go because I was going,
Yeah.
I would happily give up my ticket.
Thanks. I'll pass that along. It was a staggered registration process, prioritizing kind of teacher pro D around this because that was the
Yeah.
initial intent, and then it was opened up to all support staff. But I'll pass that on for sure.
Because I know that when we look at what we wanted in our enhancement agreement was broad knowledge.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole district.
Yeah. Well, it's more of a logistical piece, and just to remind you that that NID or that Pro D Day is centered around the contractual requirements with teachers specifically.
Yeah.
But we are doing everything we can to accommodate as many of the stakeholders as possible.
And I wonder if that's because they're hosting it all at one
Yeah.
place. So if they are short, I have a ticket as well, so.
Appreciate that, and they're going to be able to take a lot of people. North Peace is pretty big.
All right, calling the question on Stephen's online report and the HR report. All in favor?
Sorry, and number 4, the ministry framework.
And ministry
It's not a
framework.
motion.
It's not a motion, it's just part thereof. Yeah. All right,
Sorry, I interrupted you.
That's
And
okay.
Trustees didn't vote yet.
okay, all in favor? Thank you. All right, and now we'll look at the community coaches attachment. Could I please have someone make a motion that the Board of Education approve the attached community coaches as presented?
Yeah.
Bill, moved by Bill, seconded by David. Calling the question in, all in favor? Right. Moving on to out-of-district field trips. I'm looking for someone to make the motion that the Board of Education approve the attached community coaches as presented, moved by David, seconded by Ida. Any questions before we call the question? Ellen?
So we assume, because a lot of places, the teacher is spot is open,
Yeah,
but we figure
there has to be someone. It's
no
just,
problem finding somebody.
that's right. They can't go otherwise.
I know, it's just because it's sad to have it on the list and then you can't.
Exactly. So there'll be someone.
We're calling the question on that. All in favor? And Stephen snuck the ministry framework up into with his online report, so we have looked at that. Any questions related to that? Please, I did ask that it come forward so you know that somebody somewhere read it and they cared about it.
And there's not a really ton of information for you in that letter.
No, but it goes to show how behind everything is.
Yeah.
Because normally this would have happened at least if they get back on schedule. All right, moving on then to our secretary treasurer's report.
Thank you. For my report, I have the finance update to March 31st, and then the HR support staff summary. That is what I did.
Please get a mover and a seconder. Moved by Nicole, seconded by Madeline. And we'll start by taking a look at the financial statement. Any questions related to the financial statement?
I just wanted to say thank you for adding the line that says where the miscellaneous funds came from. That made me smile when I looked
Well,
at
I'm tired of you guys asking.
it.
It's all about keeping Thomas happy.
No, it's Madeline, actually.
But I have another question.
I'm
Take it back.
I'm very happy, yes.
I'm thinking it's probably leftover from under employee benefits that the CPPEI and are maxed out. I don't think they're maxed out yet, are they?
Also, it's been there because they're maxed out from the previous
From
year.
December.
So it looks very odd until, like, we're starting to align more now because we maxed out in December. So I did leave it in there, but I
Okay.
probably should have clarified it more.
Right, yeah, because you're
Because
right,
it
because
started.
because it's a December and then a June.
And then all of a sudden in
Yeah.
June, we start to pick up momentum again to getting it to align. So
Any other questions for Angela on the financial statement?
you may be concerned about the services and supplies spending, but that usually happens by May 31st. We're good. So
That's when they stop shopping.
when they stop.
Credit card gets run out.
Okay. Right, calling the question then on the secretary treasurer's report and that part of it. And all in favor? And I'm assuming if you had any HR questions, you would have jumped in on this. All right. Looking now at item number 9 on our agenda, the reports of the regular committee of the whole meeting of April 27th, which is pages 16 to 19 in the agenda packet. Looking for a mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Madeline, seconded by Nicole. Are there any errors or omissions? Call the question then, all in favor?
Sorry.
Okay, yep. Oh.
1, 2, 3, 4, yeah.
Yep.
I think that's 34.
Oh, Coda.
COTA. Yeah.
COTA, okay. Okay. Thank you. I don't think there was any business arising, so we're going to move on to 9.3, which is our policy committee. we're looking at the policy related to district health and safety. And we're looking at the second reading of this so that we will out for notice of motion. So do I have the seconder for this motion? Seconded by Nicole. The motion is that the Board of Education issue a notice of motion for the loss of policy 5007 district health and safety.
We adopt. Did they go out for notice of motion last time? Because I have my name.
No, there was a problem with it.
Oh, right.
There has been some amendment to it, so.
Oh, I think we changed it.
In the first one that I looked at, it wasn't taken out, so I don't know.
So then do we have to recirculate it because it did go up?
But we did make a change today because we had a whole long discussion about number 2. And when I looked at the thing online, number 2 was still in there. It wasn't crossed out. And in my package, it's now crossed out, so.
Well, it's just because on the, and it has my name attached for the.
That's right.
You would have initially, so you can keep that the same right now, it's just sending it out again.
And then we send it out again.
If you're okay with
I'm
your
good with that,
doing
yeah.
that first,
Yeah.
it's basically, going back in time
Yes,
with the
I'm good
changes.
with that, yeah.
It didn't go out. It didn't actually go
Yeah,
out.
there you go.
Okay.
So we're
So
starting
it is
again.
notice of motion, we're right. So I'm not looking,
Okay, so now we're sending it out.
I don't need a seconder.
we don't need a second. Sorry. Okay, bylaw 426. And we did the first reading of this already. So we're looking to do the second and the third reading tonight. Okay. So we read the whole thing that was put in a long form. Does it need to be? I don't mind. I'm
No,
just
we
checking.
did put in that the second and third reading be read in short form.
Okay, all right, so I can do it in short one. Thank you. So this is bylaw 426. It relates to trustee elections, and we're looking at the second reading of it, and we're doing what is in the Local Government Act. And under the School Act, we make a bylaw to determine what our procedures are for the election. In our school district, we have 5 electoral zones, and they are outlined in here for area 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And the bylaw goes through the procedures that will be followed. And there's definitions that come from the Local Election Finance Act. The bylaw applies to both general school elections and by-elections. And advanced voting opportunities will be set up. And in TEA number 5, we follow and work with the city of Fort St. John and follow their dates. Order of names on ballot will be alphabetical by last name. There's a judicial recount if necessary. And there's website access to the candidates' nomination documents and campaign financing disclosure. And in Hudson Hope, we work with Hudson Hope Council. In TEA 4, we work with Taylor. And there's provisions for scrutineers and voting opportunities. On page 5, you can see the things that have been changed with where we are required to put in where our public notices of things are and where they will be. So I'm going to consider that the second reading of the bylaw. So
Sorry, need that, the motion.
okay, I thought we did that last meeting. Oh, doesn't matter, we can do it. Okay.
I'll make a motion that we do
In short form,
in short form, the first and second, and do them tonight.
do it tonight. Thank you. Seconder, Bill. All right. So we're ahead on it now because we've just done that. We've done the second and third readings, we've done in short form. And we just did the second reading in short form. So can I have someone make the motion that Board of Education adopt the second reading? Thomas and David? That's done. Moving on to the ever exciting bylaw 426, the third reading of this bylaw. And it's bylaw 426, and it relates to the trustee elections that are coming up in October, and it is the procedures that will be followed. And we have 5 electoral areas, and they are outlined on page 1 of the document. And the document establishes the procedures that will be followed in the election and shows which local and municipal governments we are tied to in various election areas, and piggybacking off of their processes. The order of names on ballots will be alphabetical by last name. Candidate information will be published on the website, and there is voting opportunities in advance voting opportunities beyond the general voting day, and there will also be special voting opportunities. There is an opportunity for scrutinators at the polls as well. Public notices will go out, and there will be a voters list established, and it is only those electors that are registered to vote at the time that will be able to vote. So that is our third reading of bylaw 426. So
Now, Helen, before we go to the third reading motion, we didn't vote on the second one. You didn't call all in favor.
okay. All right, all in favor on number 2?
Okay, now we're on to the third.
Now we're on to the third. I need a mover and seconder, and let's see if I can get it right by the third time. Ida and Bill? And now calling the question on it. All in favor? Someone really likes things that go 3 times.
It's so confusing.
She keeps me on the straight and narrow. All right. So unfinished business financial standing committee. We did put in an application to speak in person. I haven't heard back yet, but the areas that I would see making sure we cover our mental health and mental health supports in our community is one thing. The general support for rural communities and the concept that the unfunded liability we face because we're not covering inflationary pressures. And right now, one of the things that is helping, hopefully it won't be there forever, but we can't staff. We get a cushion that helps within cover inflation. And should that, we be fully staffed with certified teachers, we will not have that cushion. And will be one of the districts from the report that the Secretary Treasurers did that then is facing structural deficit. So those would be the things that I would choose to. I'll bring comments back, but if you have other areas or other thoughts about what we should be covering in that, please let me know. We don't have. I jumped ahead. I did jump ahead, yes. I'm really doing well tonight.
Well, I appreciate you keeping me on my toes, and I'm feeling
Well, I'm
because
glad.
I was late.
I will confess, this is my first meeting with my hearing aids, and it's a totally different experience. to hear
Really?
you. And I'm rattled. I'm rattled.
They can hear us.
I'm rattled. Okay.
I'm not saying anything.
I know. All right.
They're not working.
It's the typing.
It's not. I'm trying to totally rattle Wanda too. Indigenous Education Council, I did reach out to the Indigenous Education Council chair today, and just to let you know, the board will be sending request a profit waiver for one member from profit waiver to sit on the IEC. And maybe in May, they'll come and talk to us. We also talked about involvement for superintendent. I'd like to get that a little bit more in depth. So, take a look at BCSTA now. So what I did do, Bill, is there anything for you from provincial council?
We had a quick 15-minute meeting there. And we're just discussing the remuneration for the executive.
All right, and what we did do in the agenda and attach in the agenda was the motions that our board was involved in through the NIB and some of our joint work with the Northwest branch. So review of remuneration for the board of directors came to the NIB through Prince George. Academic dual credit is one that would be nice for us to get some people started early on. And so that's one went forward. Expanding the Canada student loan forgiveness to include educational assistance went forward. So that will be the provincial loan forgiveness went forward. And Coast Mountain did the work on early years education and childcare. And basically on this one, and we had supported their motion through NIB, there was a number of other districts that were involved in wanting to bring childcare motions. And so they got amalgamated into this one. And as we heard, and it got talked about there and in our earlier meetings, they have approved funding for 2 more years for the early learning need. So hopefully the work on frameworks, instructions, and things like that get done in that 2-year period, so we don't find ourselves in the same place where we're needing to advocate funding for that position. I did attach, also ask for motion number 22 to be attached, dedicated funding for school district housing accommodation, partly because teacherages is a topic that we have talked about. And I also have had to reach out now through the Northern Interior branch from districts that other districts that want to make sure we discuss it at the next NIB meeting with the idea that there be some funding put into the annual facilities grant for places that have teacherages. So stay tuned on that one. None of the other usually, when we go to the pre-conference and we go to AGM, there's some educational sessions as well. None of the handouts or things like from those sessions are posted at this point on the portal. I know that I attended one with Lisa Swarm, and it was talking about elections and what we should do in our timing and lead up to elections and sort of some do's and don'ts around communication and stances you take. And she kept saying, you'll get the notes. Stop taking pictures, stop writing, you'll get the notes, but they're not up there yet. And Madeline and Bill and I made sure we went to different concurrent sessions, so we kind of hit them all. I don't know if there's any that you want to speak to at this point, Madeline and Bill.
Well, I can just say which ones I attended, and there were, because if there were 2 breakout sessions, I attended the cyber, the ransom malware, which was very good. I think there was maybe a little bit of miscommunication with the presenter because he expected to have a room full of IT people. So, but he pivoted well, and it was good for us, for anybody in the room. And the second one was media training, and she was very well laid out, good explanations. And
Yeah, I went to a security in schools one, which I was honestly disappointed with, because it was more or less the person was telling us what their job was. And it was, yeah, we listened to almost an hour of two people telling us what their job was and what they did at their job. Like, which is kind of like, okay, that's your job. It's good to know what your job is, but not what I expected to come and see.
And the pre-conference was actually well attended. And they did a board chair one that kind of meant you only got to go to part of some of the second one. And what it was going through scenarios like we had gone through at Academy. And I again reiterated the point that we did not make those decisions again. And my whole table supported me in putting out an option that wasn't on their sheet. So hopefully they'll get the message that some of those course scenarios need to be changed up. So. All right, BCPC now.
I'm just gonna say that the provincial framework agreement has been signed. I think what that means for us, because a lot of local tables did not want to start because they were waiting on that agreement, which now happened. So we'll see what we do moving forward. I did send out
And it was, I didn't go back in and look this afternoon, but there was going to be something that could be distributed to this.
I would say the one, yeah, because what I sent out was not.
Well, I know that so it was the concept. Something was going to still go up on the other one.
And not the biggest highlight, definitely one of the highlights of it was our keynote speaker.
Oh, right.
She was good.
Clara Hughes.
Clara Hughes.
Oh, she's an experience.
She was
Great,
amazing.
great story, huge amount of energy.
Half the room, I think, after her speech was either exhausted because she was so high energy, or very inspired. She was excellent.
Yes, she was. All right, on to board prodi. Before our next meeting at 4:30, we have Jared and Carlene coming to talk about child and youth affairs.
Asia too, sorry, no concept. Asia Fontaine, our lead.
Are you? Okay, Asia Fontaine
Yeah.
too. And they'll just update us on our processes and what's happening with children. Because we know that that is a specific population that the ministry expects us to pay attention to. So. Now we'll go back to the rest of the agenda that, we tried to jump forward to. We don't have any correspondence.
We didn't use 14 though.
No, we're gonna do 14, and we're gonna see if Helen can get this right, because this is another one of those 3 reading ones. So you will remember that we, earlier in the year, said what we would like to see happen under capital improvement, and the ministry has written back, sent Angela a letter that goes through what is approved and what we will be able to work on this year through that document. And what this letter does is it takes and the bylaw puts into effect what's coming to that from that ministerial letter. Right. So could you go through it, please? Thank you.
So, we're getting 2 roofing upgrades. Dr. Kearney, that's one phase. I think we broke down to get the entire roof down, so they granted us $500,000 for this year. Cole Central is the same. That's three phases, so 285 this year, and hopefully they will grant us the continuing numbers in the following years. Bird Amherst is getting $700,000 towards an new HVAC and DDC controls. We got 1 bus this year, which was a bit of a letdown considering we got 5 that are just rolling in right now from the 24-25 year. And then we got our first playground. It's which was I believe 2019-20. So we have 200,000 towards
Clearview.
And those are. Happy.
Well, and our fleet, I know it would be nice to have 5 buses, but our fleet, we've kind of had quite a few buses, so.
We've been, they're a little disappointed. I'm like, where are we gonna? And they did tell us they're tightening up on the transportation, so. Just because we kilometer out isn't an automatic anymore for getting a bus, so. Have to figure out how to get more next year, but for right now, it's gonna be a year out before it shows up. They're just. Kind of excited.
Kind of scary though, when you replace a roof and you plan it out over 3 years.
Well, unless the ministers change or the person in charge changes, we have a plan in place. So, but you are right. There's no guarantee. Fingers crossed. We'll just keep the kids on that. It'll be fun.
Any questions for Angela regarding that? What got approved?
2 buses. No. Milo and no.
I'll get back to you. The 300. And then depending on the conditions of the road too, they take those into consideration. So.
Because we did get, when we got some buses based on the fact that it was the repair costs were so high to keep them on the road, even though they didn't have the miles, right?
Yeah, because they get quite shook up on back rural roads. So.
I have to imagine that there's some type of system in place where, okay, if they get miled out on the back roads, we move them more into town stuff, like we do with our own vehicles, to try to get as much life out of them.
That is that question.
Any other questions? Great. So, in accordance with section 6840, School Act, I need a motion to call for readings of the capital bylaw 2026, 27 be given at this meeting. Moved by David, seconded by Thomas. Calling the question, all in favor? All right. Moving on with the first reading of the capital bylaw for 2627 CPSD 60-01, which is the capital plan for 2026-27. Whereas in accordance with section 142 of the School Act, the Board of Education of School District number 60, Peace River North, hereinafter called the board, has submitted a capital plan to the Minister of Education, hereinafter called the Minister, and the Minister has approved the plan, and there was approved the capital plan application. Now, therefore, in accordance with section 143 of the School Act, the board has prepared this capital bylaw and agrees to do the following. Authorize the Secretary Treasurer to execute a capital project funding agreement related to the capital project contemplated by the capital plan or the capital plan with modification. Upon ministerial approval to proceed, commence the capital projects and proceed diligently and use best efforts to complete each capital project substantially as directed by the minister. Observe and comply with any orders, regulation, or policy of the ministers as may be applicable to the board or the capital project, and maintain proper books of account and other information and documents with respect to the affairs of the project as may be prescribed by the minister. Now, therefore, the board enacts as follows: the capital bylaw of the board for 2026-27. Capital plan as approved by the minister to include supported capital projects specified in the letter addressed to the Secretary and Treasurer and Superintendent dated April 20th, 2026 is hereby done. This capital bylaw may be cited as School District number 60, Peace River North Capital Bylaw 2627 DPSD 60-01. Read a first time the 20th day of April 2026. I please have a mover and a seconder. That's moved by Thomas, seconded by Bill. Calling the question, all in favor? Right. Now I need a motion that the second and third turn reading can be done in short form. Moved by Bill, seconded by Ida. All in favor? This is the second reading of the capital bylaw for 2026-27, and it is done under the provisions of Section 142 of the School Act. We have submitted a capital plan to the minister, and they have approved the capital plan with modifications. And we're authorizing through this bylaw the Secretary Treasurer to proceed with the capital project funding agreements. And we have ministerial approval to commence the capital projects. And we are looking to have the projects completed in the timeline as directed by the minister. We're going to follow any regulations. We're going to maintain proper books, and everything that is being done in accordance with the letter that came from the minister to the Secretary Treasurer on April 20th, 2026.
Helen, sorry, that date should actually be March 27th, 2026.
Okay. March 27th?
Yeah, that's the date of the letter.
That's the date of the letter, okay. So we'll have to make sure that that's changed. All right. So can we please adopt the meeting? Thank you. All right, third and final reading.
Sorry, I interrupted and I lost. Did we get a first and seconder for the second reading?
Yep. Bill and Ida.
Oh, I thought that was.
Yeah, that was
third reading.
That was the last one.
Okay, I need a mover and a seconder. Just took it away. I was gonna get it right. We had the motion that it's carried. Bill and Ida again. All right, third reading. Capital bylaw number 20 for 2627 CPSD 60-01, being done in accordance with Section 142 of the School Act. And we're proceeding with having the Secretary Treasurer execute a plan for capital project funding agreement and following up on the capital plan requests that the minister approved in their letter of March 27th, 2026. And we will observe and comply with any orders or regulations from the minister, and we will maintain proper accounting processes for the projects. And that is capital bylaw 2627 DPSD 60-0. Could I have a mover and a seconder for the third and final reading? Moved by David, seconded by Madeline. Calling the question. All in favor? Great. We're so efficient, we've already done number 15. Yeah. Okay, new business. Didn't have any new business come forward. We don't have anybody here from the PRNTA team or DPAC. It's time for questions from the press and the public.
I don't have any questions. I just like to make a statement. I did go to the science fair on the Thursday, and it was, some of them were like, okay, you got grade 7 students here, grade 6 students doing things that, okay, they should be up higher. And there's some there that their mastery of being able to present and present it was really,
That attests to the hard work of our staff in preparation for science fair. So it's nice to know that it's appreciated by the community. So thank you very much.
granddaughter got second in her debate.
All right.
Did Ruth have any questions?
No, she shook her head. I'm ahead on you in that one.
And I checked first to let her go.
All right. Could I please have a motion to,
Sorry. It was one of the attachments here that I can't remember if we did it or not, but it was the deferral.
that's in camera.
It is, okay.
Okay. Can I have a motion to suspend the regular meeting and move into in camera? Moved by David, seconded by Thomas. All in favor? Carried. Wanda, please stop the recording. Publish that when it stops recording.
Yeah, maybe double check.
Can I please have someone make a motion or in-camera motions to be brought forward for implementation? Moved by Thomas, seconded by David. All in favor? And now could I please get a motion to adjourn? Moved by Bill, seconded by Ida. All in favor? Thank you. Wanda, please stop the recording.